Well, hello everyone. Welcome to tonight's live. We've got Stacey Wondra and Brandon Shurtliff in the battle of the bullshit.
Hello, hello. Nice to see everybody with us tonight. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, my name is Samantha, and my partner there is Kaylia, and our new channel, Missing Pacific Northwest Crimes Revisited. I hope we didn't, disappoint anybody changing our name, but this is going to give us a way more reach in the YouTube community instead of just limiting ourselves with Kyron Horman's name. It was devastating for me to do it. It was a very hard decision, but it will bring more awareness for him, and I have to keep reminding myself. Who do we got in the comments? Oh, we got Crime Sleuthin. She's here. Hello. Zane Lilly. Hello. Callie Dime. Nice to see everybody. It's nice to see some other people from some other YouTube channels joining in. What do you guys think about our new name? I'm just curious. I'm going to ask, how do you guys like the new name, the new setup?
Yes, it took a while to settle on something, and you know what? It just felt right because Samantha and I both are from here. We feel really connected to the missing children that are in this area. You know, Kyron was the one that kind of got us started into everything. And yeah, I agree with you, Samantha. I think that I personally think changing the name, it feels good because I hope it'll reach more screens. Kyron's face will reach more screens and more ears. And that one tip that the police are needing and are waiting for just comes in. That's what I hope will come out of.
Well, yeah, more awareness, just not for Kyron, but for Michael and all the other children we're going to be putting up. And yeah, we're super, super excited. You like the Battle of the Bullshitters, did you?
Yes, that was a good intro. I hadn't seen that intro. That was the first time I saw it just with all of you. And man, good job, Samantha. I was like, yes, get him.
Oh, no, I am sick of the bullshit, I think is what my thing is. I'm putting together all these clips and everything all the time, and I just keep listening to it, and I am just like, wow, you guys, wow. Because we all know they're lying. We all know they're involved with Michael Vaughan's abduction. We know that Stacey Wondra and Brandon Shurtliff, Stacey Wondra and Adrien Lucienne all know that they can give Michael's family peace, and nobody's doing anything. They're all cowards. They're all cowards.
Yes, it's devastating. Just before we came on, I was saying how, the reality of thinking of that 4 adults here allegedly have information in regards to where Michael is. And none of them are doing anything. And just like the reality of thinking of that and the turmoil and the ripples of the hurt that this has caused, it just is really devastating that no one's come up and stood up and done the right thing here. We were all innocent 5-year-olds once. Even if you're not a parent, we were all innocent 5-year-olds once.
Yeah. Yep, it's so sad. It literally breaks my heart. I am very thankful for Brooks to inviting us to, start bringing awareness to Michael, because it changed everything. It changed who we are. It changed all of our thoughts and ideas that we thought we had. Yeah. It's completely turned our worlds upside down, and for the better.
Yeah,
but it is unfortunate.
those ripples that just reach far. You know, we are just some people that are like thousands of miles away or hundreds of miles away, I guess hundreds. And we still are hurting for this family and for this innocent boy, you know, and that's just one small small part of the hurt. It just, yeah, this is a big thing. I'm glad we're all here so we can raise awareness for Michael and justice for Michael and justice for our missing, just like Callie Dime writes here in the comments.
All right, so let's get started. Let's, we're going
Yes.
to be talking a lot about Brandon. We're going to talk a little bit about Stacey because, we got this battle of the bullshitters going on. But we're going to start with the battle, you guys. Let's throw it up.
And they have a crawl space under there in their master bedroom. You walk in their master bedroom, take a right, and there's like this little crawl space right there. And I know that was open one day, and I went in there and looked, and there was like some kind of one of their cats that got down in there and pissed everywhere.
Oh, really? Why were you looking down there?
Because it was open.
Oh, you were just seeing what it was.
Yeah.
What about an attic?
No, the door was open, like they wanted their cats to go down in there or something. Or like that was another. I don't know. I went in their bedroom and looked to the right one day, and then that thing was open. Their basement crawl space door.
Where's it at in their bedroom? Under their bed? Is it noticeable? Is it hidden?
It's kind of, you go in their bedroom and then you go straight into their master bedroom. There's a shower on the left, and then right when you turn to the right, there's just like this little hatch door that opens.
But if someone just you could see the hatch from the wall, or you could tell something's there. I mean, is it hidden?
It's cut into the carpet, so it's like just a big piece of carpet with like a little square kind of cut out on two sides, and then and it comes open.
I just got to pause for a second. Forgive me for not mentioning the people and the creators from YouTube that have been putting together these interviews and where I have gotten my clips from: Crime Lines and Lies, Justin For All, JRL Investigators or Investigates, and Dolly Vision. That's who's in the background here is JRL Investigates.
We let Brandon use our bathroom on more than one account. It was just something that he liked to use our shower and bathroom, I guess. I don't know. We had a nice bathroom set up. But the crawl space, his details don't even match up about it. Like I was saying yesterday, he was saying that the crawl space was, you walk in the bedroom, take a right. It's incorrect. The crawl space was in the bathroom, so you had to go in the bedroom, take a left, walk through the bathroom door, shut the door, take a right, and there's a walk-in closet. And in the far back left corner of the walk-in closet, there's the crawl space that you have to lift up the latch to lift up the piece of carpet that's attached. And you have to drop the ladder down. And the only thing that was in the crawl space was the empty firearm box. That was a Savage box. I don't know why he's fixed on the crawl space, but I can tell you that there was nothing in that crawl space beside an empty firearm box.
Okay, so I want to pause right there because we're going to talk about this crawl space. I mean, the crawl space to me, when I haven't watched up until the day before yesterday and yesterday, this entire interview with JRL Investigates with Brandon. I have been going through everything with Stacey, and I found it really strange that Brandon wants to talk about the crawl space at Sarah and Stacey's house when the crawl space that's been mentioned by law enforcement and by the news is the crawl space at Brandon's mom's house.
Right.
And
Deflection.
Right. Like, hello. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And you know what? Also, oh man, what was I going to say that stood out to me there? Oh man, I lost my train of thought. It'll come to me because he said something that made me think something. Darn it.
Well, he says something about going into the bedroom and then it's
Oh
like
yeah,
right there,
there we
but
go.
it's not right in the it's not right in the bedroom. It's in the bathroom. And then a little further, it sounds like in the closet, according to Stacey. But
Well, it also, you know, if you watched the interviews, anybody, if you remember, I'm pretty sure Stacey said the reason that they went to their house in the first place because he didn't want him to use his washing machine, but he'll let him use his shower and like
right.
be up all in his personal like master bedroom shower, but not his washing machine. Make it
And
make sense.
Sarah was washing clothes for people. She was making money washing clothes. I don't
Yep.
know. She had like her own little business, like washing clothes. She was washing everybody's clothes, but now all of a sudden he's got to go to his mom's house to wash the clothes. This whole like going to his mom's house thing, it just smells fishy. It
It really does.
absolutely smells fishy. I'm going to throw this up real quick because I want to talk about this. So Brandy NEAL in the comment section of, I believe it was Justin for All, she made me investigate a little bit after I read this comment. She said the head of Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue came out after Tina's statement and said it was BS. And I'm like, well, let's just go see if I can find it. So what did I find? I found the BS, you guys.
There we go. We do our best digging, Samantha. You're a good researcher. Thank you for finding this.
Oh my gosh, I hate it when I don't hit this pause button right. It is annoying. Okay, so here is the KTVB 7 News, and this reads, Shurtliff's mother speaks. Where is Shurtliff? According to his mother, Tina, how do you say her last name? Moreel?
That's
Morel?
what I was gonna guess. Moriel. That's what I was about to guess that same.
So Tina Moreel, he is in North Dakota, and she knows his location. Moreel told KTVB via Facebook that her son is not running and has nothing to hide. We have all been cooperating, but this has outright turned into harassment of Brandon and our family. It used to be innocent until proven guilty. Now it's guilty without proof. They are even pointing fingers at me and telling me I'm lying and hiding something, she said. Moreel claims she opened her home to police when they came a knocking. I gave them food and water, prayed with them, and allowed them to run their dogs and people through my house and yard. They did find my toilet was leaking, which I'm grateful for, Moreel said. She claims their cadaver dog smelled the poop outside near her vent and crawl space. Here's the crawl space. This is where it's mentioned. Near her vent and crawl space, which she is claiming that it's the smell from her leaky toilet, that it is the poop from her leaky toilet, which was near her leaky toilet, she says. And then we'll move on to the next part of this interview. Public Relations Director Mark Sullivan works for the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, a team that has been very active in the search for Michael. Sullivan consulted with canine experts on his team who told him that no cadaver dogs do not alert on human feces. No cadaver dogs do not alert on human feces.
I'm sure
Sullivan
they're
said,
completely different scent. Sorry to interrupt, but come on.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
That's just
yeah.
silly. It's just, and yeah, just sad. Again, another sad thing. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no,
Keep
you're
going.
fine. Sullivan said that he's never heard of a canine dog being trained to find feces. I'm reading up on canine stuff today and I'm looking into it. I want to know. So these dogs have to be trained to be cadaver dogs from anywhere from 12 to 24 months. And when they hit on a deceased scent, they're usually 95% correct.
That's incredible.
95%. Each dog has a very specific reaction that it does when it does what it's trained to do, he said via text message. The untrained human may not know or recognize when a dog alerts its handler. I want to keep moving this page forward a little bit. That's a text message that Tina sent about all of this. They came back, Tina says, they came back with 17 cars, you guys, dogs and shovels, and dug where the dog alluded to the following day. So they came back. They're not messing around. 17 dogs and shovels and more dogs. They found nothing but my leaky toilet, she says. We have cooperated fully since all this began. Our attorney will probably be calling a press conference for all this slander. Somebody else making threats to law enforcement and everything else, even though there's a child missing. Like, how about we just all happily cooperate with law enforcement and let them determine what actually happened? Because Tina Murill was gone in Arizona.
Right.
When
Michael disappeared.
Yeah, when Michael disappeared. So KTVB asked why Shurtliff hasn't come back to Idaho, and Murill said his attorney is handling it. Well, the reason why he hasn't came back, for one, is because he's a friggin' coward, but the other reason why is because he got a warrant for a misdemeanor marijuana charge. This guy has already spent time multiple times in jail, and he's scared to come, do 30 days for a warrant for his arrest? Come on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know my son's heart, she says. He loves kids, animals, and elderly. He has such a tender heart. He's always giving all he has. He would give his last morsel of food or his only shirt. He just always seems to choose the wrong type of people to be friends with. Got that right. Huff said he could not elaborate on Murill's comments due to the nature of the investigation. KTVB went to Murill's home in Kuna to speak to her further, but she did not answer the door. Imagine that. Why isn't she answering the door? That's kind of odd. Why wouldn't you answer your door? Well, why wouldn't you help find a missing child? Why wouldn't you fully cooperate and tell them everything you need to know? I don't know. If it was my child, they'd be getting everything. I'm just saying, like,
me too.
You don't want to hope or not hope, but you don't want to imagine that your child would ever be capable of anything. But I'm still going to fully cooperate with police when a missing child is nowhere to be found. Police said in the December press conference they had searched a home in Kuna without warrant, but did not elaborate. Law enforcement does not need a warrant if the homeowner lets them inside willingly. And while snooping around, I found a message that Tina put on her Facebook that said, both Brandon and I have spoken to them repeatedly. They have searched my home with their dogs and found nothing. Nothing? Really? Your dogs hit on a scent in your crawl space and vent area, and they came back with 17 cars and shovels and dug in your yard.
And she's just making so much light of it, like, oh, it was no big deal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they are the ones not telling the whole truth. Brandon knows nothing about this missing child, but they are still making these allegations, I believe is what she meant to say. Brandon is speaking to them. He is not running or hiding because Brandon does not know anything. It's very sad that gossip and lies will do, or what gossip and lies will do to an individual. Mind blown.
Yeah, it's hard to put myself in that mother's shoes, because I'm also a mother, but my kids are young, but I still could never imagine, like, in covering for them. I guess I would hope it's denial over anything, and I hope it's not intentional, just because this case obviously loses my faith in humanity a bit, because there's 4 adults already allegedly that have knowledge and haven't come forward, and to think his mom is covering for him.
Crime Sleuthin says she sounds like one of those my kid ain't done shit moms. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've been telling Kaylee, this mom's 100% like putting her foot into this investigation, stopping investigators from reaching her son. Like, I'm pretty sure that she knew that he fled to North Dakota when he did, even though law enforcement didn't really know where he was or what he was doing. In the summer of 2022, Brandon calls an old employer in Livingston, Montana to go back to work for him. And after he's there for about 5 months, detectives from Fruitland go to Livingston, Montana to talk to Brandon. This is 9 hours away, you guys. 9 hours away. Fruitland police officers go and find him. Afterwards, Brandon's employer said that Brandon started acting paranoid, pacing around, acting panicked and erratic, wasn't making sense, and was saying, I got to get out of here. And Brandon left, packed all of his stuff, and went to his father's house in North Dakota.
Describe that, and I'm picturing it in my head. I'm picturing Chris Watts when he's watching the security camera and he's not sure if it's about to show him loading his kids and his wife into the car, or into the truck, I mean.
Oh my God.
And he's just sweating. He looks so nervous and just distraught. And when you are describing him after, what his friend described his behavior as after he had an interaction with police 9 hours away, that I don't want to say it or offend anybody, but man, that tickled him. That really made him nervous, obviously, and that just makes me sick to my stomach again.
It is crazy. Like, this guy said that this employer of his even said that the way that he was acting was scaring him and was scaring his family. And he pretty much ends up telling Brandon, like, you got to go, after he's already saying, I got to get out of here. The employer starts telling him, like, okay, yeah, you do need to go, because I don't want you here, kind of thing. And he leaves, packs up, and goes to his father's house in North Dakota. Thanks to JRL for that information. He's done a really good job finding out some information on Brandon. Found an old Facebook of his where you can go and find pictures. I found that today. It's just, I don't know. Some of these suspects have just locked down all of their social media so much that it's really hard to find anything. So that's another kind of red flag. Callie Dime here says that Tina is in Kuna, Idaho, and Brandon is in North Dakota. So when you guys see Brandon, ask him where Michael Vaughan is. And let's go on with our...
Oh, we got a comment here. It's actually JLR. Yes, JLR investigates. I linked him up above.
Really? I swear he must have had something odd on his thing, because I looked it up again just to make sure. And you're right. Because...
What? I'm confused.
Now I am confused too. I'm looking him up. Can you look him up? So many people have been mispronouncing it, and then
Yep, JLR. Are
All
you
right,
mispronouncing
sorry
it? I didn't even catch that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I am,
My
because I wrote
dyslexic
it
brain.
down. So it's JLR Investigates.
Jonathan
I
Lee
think,
Riches. There we go. That's an easy way to remember. Jonathan Lee Riches. I have heard him say that before.
thank you for correcting us.
Yes, thank you. And I
Totally
didn't
needed
even realize. So, sorry, I was like, yeah, I linked him up above. I did give him credit.
And let's get on with the battle.
Boy, Michael Vaughan, and they said he went missing right that day earlier, right before we came in with the car we were towing. And then right as soon as that happened, I went out and tried to look for the kid with Sarah. We got in her little Toyota car and drove to the gas station and drove around after we got out of the pickup, and then tried to look in the field to see if he went down by the river or if he could be out just wandering lost. And, you know, that's what hit my mind first. And then from there, it was me and Sarah. We went to the gas station, got some milk, and then did this and that and came back. And then right when we got back, Carson had his pickup next door with a light bar on it.
Mhm.
So I said, hey, we need to start this up and kind of go look in the neighborhood and the farmer field and the river. We got to go find this missing person report that just came out, you know?
And Brandon said that they had to go get some milk at the convenience store. Did you see anybody coming back with milk?
No. No. They were on foot. They couldn't even exit the parking the driveway. There was no car. I mean, they couldn't get the car out. Sarah and Brandon went out together.
Were they
And
walking?
they were on foot, correct. From what I understood, yes. I wasn't a witness to them leaving in a vehicle. Because I had the driveway blocked off with the truck in Brandon's car. So they couldn't really leave the driveway. The truck was taking up the lengthwise of the full size of the driveway, because I had the truck and then I also had Brandon's car behind. So I was working on getting that all undone. So they didn't have access to taking a vehicle to go get it, to go look for him. So they went out on foot.
They went out on foot. And Brandon saying that they took Sarah's Toyota. And this round, I think Stacey's telling the truth in this part. It just makes sense that the driveway would be blocked because they've got a towed vehicle. So they take off and they go and walk. But he's also saying they went and got milk. Stacey's saying that they didn't. I did find it very strange the way that Brandon talked about going and looking and searching and mentioning the Snake River and kind of wondering whether or not Michael swam across the river. What?
That's very bizarre. I mean, if I'm how close are they to the river? Do you know?
Well, 8th Street, at the end of 8th Street, there is, well, you've seen the big field that is on the side of Brandi's house to the left on the maps, that great big field.
Yeah.
On the other side of that field is a dirt road, and it leads right down to the Snake River.
Okay, so it is pretty close, but yeah, I mean, would you be able to? I guess you probably would. I was
And then
thinking,
the
would
other,
he drive it? Would he be able to even access it by car if it's on like a dirt road? But yeah, you probably could. But yeah,
yeah, it's a
I mean,
road.
Stacey sounds more authentic here to me. I mean, he's a liar in my opinion, but
Right.
this does sound like a more logical explanation if I'm putting myself in the moment.
Yeah, and I mean the way he describes, like, the vehicle and the truck were just like blocking. There's no way that they could like leave to go out on foot. I just don't understand. Like, you are going out to search for a young boy. Why do you need to lie about such a simple detail as whether or not you were driving around or walking around? And since a child's missing, you would think you would remember whether you were walking or driving. And you know what else I noticed in Brandon's interviews? He can't say Michael's name either. In this video, he said the kid. He can't mention his name, just like
typical.
Stacey.
Yes.
They do not mention the child's name at all. We already all know, if you're a true crimer, that is like complete defection, guilt.
Yes.
Yeah,
like distancing. You're like, you're making, I hate to even use the words that are associated with it, but yeah, that is classic criminal, classic guilt 101.
Right.
You don't hear any of us saying justice for the kid or justice for the boy. Where's Michael? Sorry.
And then he says something like, that's what hit my mind. Sometimes when he talks and he says like just really weird, strange things, like that's just what hit my mind. Because he was talking about going and searching, and well, that's what just hit my mind. Make sense of, I can't even make sense of him. Crime sleuthing, but there's no way Sarah was gonna walk anywhere for an hour or more, right? I think they took the car. If they even went and searched, because they likely had Michael at that time, both lying, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely. I was actually just going to get to that point. Thank you, crime sleuthing. Because you have both of them saying opposite things. And I was just going to say, were they even searching?
Right.
Come on. This is the night. They have already put themselves on the corner of 8th in Arizona. That's where Michael was. The last his scent was ever smelt by dogs, not cadaver dogs on the Wondra property, just dogs out searching for Michael. It ends on 8th in Arizona. It ends. And that's where they parked to change the power steering fluid, according to Stacey. Just strange.
Devastating.
Then have you seen that river? And no way. It's like 2 acres in that amount of time. Again, no way. Yeah, no way. No way is, he's just turned 5 years old. Even if he knew how to swim, the currents in that river aren't going to allow a child to swim across the river. The fact that he even says it, I'm just sitting there like, what are you even talking about? Like, it's insane. It's insane to even say. Yeah, just thought that maybe he swam across the river and made it to the other side and got lost. I'm just, what? Make that make sense. Oh. And let's continue.
Tell you?
I think that they said that the cadaver dogs, they brought dogs over there and it alerted, like on a scent trail or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there was rumors that there was a little tricycle bike over there and a little shirt or something like that.
But why would people spread rumors? Are you thinking they were just trying to pin it on them?
Possibly. Yeah, I think that they were, I don't know.
He mentioned something about a scooter.
No, there was no scooter around our house.
I think Carson mentioned children's clothes and a tricycle. Did you have a tricycle?
No. No, there was no tricycle around our house. I don't know.
So, Crime Lines and Lies is saying that Carson said something about a tricycle and kids' clothing. Brandon is also now mentioning something about a tricycle and kids' clothing. I've never heard of Michael Vaughan's parents talking about a tricycle. Maybe that's just something law enforcement's keeping to their vest. I have no idea about the tricycle, just saying. I'm not trying to put out any misinformation, but the other thing from the other video too is that Brandon mentions that he talks to Carson about using his truck because he's got the great big huge lights on top of it to go search for Michael. And then we have heard more than once Stacey say there is no way in hell that Carson's going to loan his truck out to anybody, not his vehicles, nothing, not going to do it, not going to happen. I'm one of those people. I don't loan out my vehicle. Not going to do it. Too much can go wrong. I don't like anybody driving my vehicle. I don't even like my husband driving my vehicle. I believe, and I was raised, that a vehicle runs a certain way when there's one driver, and when someone else starts driving it or two people are driving it two different ways, it can mess stuff up. It was just something my dad said growing up. So I don't like anybody, but
Well,
yeah.
I had an extreme. I lent I lent a family member my car, and she was rear-ended, and I was like, frick. And I was a stay-at-home parent at the time, so I couldn't even replace the car. It was bad time. So now I have the same policy. Take an
And
Uber.
Crime Sleuthing is saying that Carson claimed that also on the JLR show.
Thank
So
you.
that's where that came from. And I have watched that, but I didn't catch it. Carson Starkey's interview was very interesting. I did watch it, but I haven't taken notes on it. I actually ran into it a while back ago, but
I think it's possible that Brandon or Adrien or Sarah could have had something to do with it. Is like I said, as much as they're deceitful and dishonest and liars, I think it's possible.
Yeah, and I want answers too. You know, I don't think Adrien did it, and I don't think Sarah did it. But Stacey, I know that sometimes he's lied to me and he's lied to others, and he says he'll do something and then he really don't do it. And I got after him about that, and I was trying to teach him that you're not supposed to do that in life, and then he'll get sometimes mad at me, you know. So that's where my trail kind of ends, and that's where I'm kind of curious in my own head.
With
And
Stacey.
with Stacey, I'd like to talk to him personally, and if he was here right now, I'd be talking with him and say, hey, I know you and me didn't. I know that you broke my watch, and you know you thought I wanted to steal your girl or this or that, but that was all accusations. It's not true. I was just there to help you guys work, make a business, and pay the bills. That was my whole objective.
So he was accusing you of trying to get with Sarah
Yes, sir. Like every day.
every day, but he didn't kick you out of the house.
Right, because she liked me a little bit because I was kind of the cool guy on the block, hanging out, trying to save the day. And he got a little bit jealous of it, and I wanted to kind of shut that down and say, hey, we're all friends. You keep your wife. You guys get along, and you guys stop doing that, kind of like a counselor.
oh my God, I just can't. Where does this curious in my own head? I'm the cool guy. I'm the cool guy on the block. With him, it was almost worse than Stacey Wondra. No, it wasn't. I have to rephrase that because I really couldn't handle the gagging, the spitting, and all of that. I had to retract immediately.
That was really hard, I agree. And honestly, now that looking back, because that stopped pretty quick after like exaggerating that he didn't want to pay for like a hospital stay, it ended pretty quick. And I wonder how exaggerating he was if he was trying to gain sympathy by doing that. And he just overdid it.
Oh my God. And then on this one, you have they're both pointing fingers at each other, of course, because that's what suspects do when they don't want to get in trouble. And Stacey, throws all three of them under the bus and then turns around. But, I don't want to, I don't really want to talk about things that I don't know for sure. But he does it anyway. And then, of course, you've got Brandon's little comeback that he had to get after Stacey and kind of teach him a little bit about how to treat people. What?
Yeah.
I don't think that he could really get after Stacey. And I don't see him, the whole thing. Curious in my own head. What? These are the little statements that he makes that I'm just like,
Yeah.
That's what hit my mind in the last one. And then
It's just
yeah.
peculiar. I mean, it's not necessarily suspicious or a judge of a character, but it is interesting because where does that lingo necessarily come from? I've never heard of it, but
yeah. And then, where was I gonna go? I was gonna say so. Oh, and then he mentions the watch. Like, okay, Stacey, you took my watch. What? You're talking about this missing child. You're talking about Michael Vaughan. You're doing an interview, but you're worried about your watch. I mean, it's
Right.
just so petty in this entire conversation that he's having. It's just
It's
really, really
it just
petty.
yeah, it's just to me just some deflection or lightening of the situation because it might have started to feel too intense for him to talk about, so he had to like switch the subject, and it just was like a subconscious thing. You know how when you're nervous or something, I don't know, that might just be a nervous subconscious switch because he was like, "Uh-oh, I don't like talking about this." I don't know.
Yeah,
It was weird.
He was taking Stacey under his wing. Kelly Dime says, "Yeah, everything in this case is very unusual, very suspicious. It's really just all really suspicious to me, and that just brings me to I want to look at this because Brandon, you were supposed to go out and do an interview with Dolly, and you didn't, but you need to get on panel with someone and talk.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, a spineless coward, in my opinion.
That is BRANDI NEAL calling him a coward. He won't even walk into, this was when he wouldn't turn himself in, he wouldn't even walk into the Idaho Police Department to talk to anybody. They had to go find him.
Yeah. That is just too sad. And you know what? I stand with BRANDI.
I think we all stand with BRANDI. Something I found a news clip, and it actually talked about one of the interviews that Brandon did, or this interview that Brandon did with JLR, and talked about how Fruitland police are watching the interviews. It's at the end, but the whole clip is a good clip.
Michael Vaughan disappeared from his neighborhood more than a year ago, and today there are still so many questions surrounding what happened. Yesterday, in a news conference, Fruitland police revealed the identities of 2 more people who they believe have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction. And one of those people talked with a YouTube blogger just last week. Here's a look at some of that interview. Videos circulating on social media are shedding light on 3 of the 4 people Fruitland police named in connection with Michael Vaughan's disappearance.
It's actually really hard sometimes to be that vulnerable with people.
But who are these people? Just last week, YouTube blogger Jonathan Lee Riches talked with Brandon Shurtliff about the then 5-year-old's disappearance. This interview came 5 days before police named Shurtliff and Adrien Lucienne as 2 people believed to have firsthand knowledge in Michael's abduction.
You ever hear Sarah or Stacey talk about the Vaughns or mention the Vaughns or say anything?
Never once. Not even. The only time I heard them ever mention the Vaughns is when they stopped the car that day and they said, "Hey, there's somebody that's missing in the neighborhood. His name's Michael Vaughan. Do you guys know him or know where he went?" That was the first time that came up to my attention. And then, as far as I know, they both said, no, we don't know where he's at. Let's go help look for him.
Shurtliff says he was with Sarah Wondra and Adrien the day Michael disappeared.
I was with Sarah that whole day and Adrien. And then Stacey was left home alone.
Last month, police arrested Sarah Wondra for failing to report a death. She lived in the house on Red Wing Street with her husband, Stacey Wondra. The same house police excavated and searched for Michael. Stacey Wondra is currently being held in the Washington County Jail for unrelated charges.
Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property.
During
Evidence. Let's just say evidence. We're not talking about his parents doing anything to Michael Vaughan.
Right.
There's evidence that proves this.
This is not hearsay. Exactly. There is evidence. Hearsay is not evidence.
Yeah. And twisting people's words around to fit your own agenda, to create your own narrative, that needs to just stop because there's evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday's news conference, Fruitland police said both Shurtliff and Lucienne were staying with the Wondras at the time of Michael's disappearance. Police say Lucienne is believed to be floating between Ohio and California. While drinking beer and sitting in a hot tub in North Dakota, Shurtliff also revealed the Wondras were religious or hid behind religion.
Hey, I thank God for you. I hope you say a prayer for me.
Like the whole time I was there, they just say, "Oh, we believe in God, and God tells me what we should do for the day and how to help people, and we believe in doing good to the community." So I don't know why they would go from that to getting caught with guns and then trying to run off with the story that definitely didn't happen in front of my eyes.
He also revealed he was not in Idaho at the time of the interview, but his family has a home here.
The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone. They're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out.
As questions continue to surround this home where all 4 people stayed at one point, still no definitive answer as to what happened to Michael. And we reached out to Fruitland police and asked if they have seen these videos, and police tell us they have indeed watched all of them.
Nice find.
They have indeed watched all of them. If they've watched that interview, you can guarantee it that they have watched all of Stacey's.
Every tens of hours that he's done so far, 20s of hours, and great job to all the YouTubers who have brought him on for those hours, because look, you're all helping the investigation.
Exactly. So Michael Vaughan disappeared July 27th of 2021. Please call the tip line if you have any information about Michael Vaughan's whereabouts at 208-642-6006. You can also email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too small. Anybody that knows these suspects and knows something that they have done or said, if they got drunk or if they were doing drugs and they said something, say something. You need to report it. It could be the tiniest thing that links everything together and makes this case explode. So please, if you have a tip, don't be scared. I know BRANDI would be more than help. She would love it. If you got a hold of her, she'd go with you to give in the tip. Find a friend to go give the tip. Get a hold of us. We'll give you more information for the tip. We can do a conference call. Just turn in that tip. Just want to throw that out there real quick.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, a spineless coward, in my opinion.
Ain't that the truth?
It is. It is. Yeah, the news interview I thought was also really crazy because they mentioned that Brandon Shurtliff did that interview with JLR Investigates 5 days before Huff put out that news conference. 5 days before. If JLR wouldn't have contacted him, gotten a hold of him, and did that interview, when he did, I bet you Brandon would have never said anything or talked nothing.
Yeah, I believe so too. Just based on how he hasn't wanted to, or we haven't heard him since, and his story doesn't match Stacey's, and then just all of it is so many red flags. And if what his coworker or his boss said is true, then yeah, he definitely would not have been interested in talking. I mean, has Adrien given an interview? He's been like, nope, I am not, and I don't want the heat put on me. I'm going to try to lay low,
Right. What do we got going over in the comment section? I went over to go put up my banner. There's a bit of truth to all these lies, like finding a needle in a haystack, but they are there. I totally agree with you. Sometimes I think I know when Stacey's lying, and when he's not. And because he's just, I don't know, I want to say like so matter of factly about it. And then there's other times you can tell like he's trying so hard to convince and wants to repeat and convince. And that's when I know like he's just throwing out bullshit at that point. So the other thing I want to talk about is the duffel bag. We need to talk about the duffel bag because this duffel bag story has changed over and over and over again. Brandon Shurtliff, Sarah Wondra, and Stacey Wondra, they leave their house to go to Kuna because they're going to go pick up Brandon's car and tow it back from his mom's house. The times when they left all were all over the place, but Stacey finally said at one point that they pulled over to the side of the road to put power steering fluid in right after they left their neighborhood between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Michael came up missing. The new time law enforcement put out 6:40 to 7 o'clock. He literally puts them in the same area on 8th Street in Arizona, pulling over to the side of the road when Michael Vaughan disappears. Okay. And the backpack, Crime Lines and Lies, had Stacey on. He talks about Brandon bringing an empty backpack. Then all of a sudden, it's not an empty backpack. It's a backpack full of clothes. Then again, it turns in from that to Stacey saw Brandon put clothes into the duffel bag. Well, once they get to the house, stories started conflicting with each other again. Stacey says that they parked the vehicle so the camera on the front of the house couldn't see that they had arrived. Stacey says at one point that Sarah went into the house with Brandon through the garage. Then on another interview, Stacey says that Sarah sat in the truck with him and she didn't go in the house. Then you have Stacey saying Brandon goes through the garage, but then in two other interviews, one was around the house and now it's through the back gate or the side door. So there's changing stories about getting into Brandon's mom's house and everything else. I threw this clip together. I used Crime Lines and Lies. She actually recorded a conversation that her and Stacey had with each other. And he talks about this duffel bag. You guys are going to be blown away by this conversation.
Talk about this, Brooks.
Well, what are you going to do when Brandon or Adrien tells them where that duffel bag is?
Okay, then let him. I have no knowledge of it, so, and I guarantee you they don't have it. They don't have that. Because I promise you they would have already found it, Brooks. I guarantee you they already have it. Guarantee you. They don't have it. They don't have that. Because I promise you they would have already found it, Brooks. I guarantee you they already have it. Guarantee you.
Who?
Who else is doing the investigation, Smartland?
I am just so blown away. He's talking about this backpack where he knows exactly where it is and no one's ever going to find it. They'll never find it. I mean,
That's so creepy and just sick. And yeah, like you said, it's just so matter of fact. Like he knows exactly where the backpack is and it's not even his backpack.
it's just weird. Crime Sleuthin'. Were you able to watch the interview Stacey did with Hidden True Crime's husband? That's on members only. No.
No. We kind of lost track of the interviews after he started going on a lot of them. Then we started getting the recaps because it was just a lot of hours.
Yeah, it was literally I put clips together and probably spent 35 hours putting clips together. It was so long and so exhausting. If you could put the link out or just tell us where to look. What is it? Hidden True Crime Husband. That's on members only. I mean, wasn't there a woman that gave him an interview? Are we talking about the same person? Because I know I caught a little tiny bit of it, and she mentions that Stacey had talked to her husband and she did an interview with him. I don't know if that's the same person or not, though. But yeah, keep listening to this duffel bag story, you guys.
I think maybe they hid from the cameras going into the garage. Where were you when they were going in?
I was in the truck waiting where I normally should have been. But I can tell you that
I was in the truck waiting. Like, it should have been. What?
To the garage. Where were you when they were going in?
I was in the truck waiting where I normally should have been.
Where I normally should have been. That just sounds weird to me.
That doesn't even make sense. Like, what does he mean by that?
Yeah, normally should have been. I mean, and the look on his face when he says this is suspicious to me. I started wondering whether or not, he was ever I don't know, is there proof out there that this car actually ended up in their driveway or what? I mean, they're lying so much. Did they really even tow a vehicle?
I know. I thought the same thing because, like I've said before, Stacey has said that Brandon was begging them over and over, and they finally agreed to do it for him. Yet when they get to freaking Brandon's mom's house, Brandon ditches them to go do the laundry, and he's over here doing all the freaking brunt work for Brandon's car that Brandon just begged them to do. Like,
right.
I'm sorry to say, I don't want to, again, please forgive me. I'm normally not so crude, but Stacey, this man is fucking your wife and you're doing his dirty work in his car for him too. Like, what is up here? This is weird.
Yeah. Totally weird. And Crime Sleuthen says, yeah, they both did interviews. John put his on members only. Spoiler alert, there's not much new, but he did a good job getting to baseline on Stacey. Well, thank you for that. So what's members only? And please no one laugh at me. I'm a computer dinosaur.
That's like with memberships. When people pay for a membership for a YouTube channel, then you have the members only section.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
See, I've been trying to teach myself a little bit about that stuff, but I mean, we're small. We're not even monetized or anything, so I guess I'll learn that later on. John Cena couldn't push Mercer around like that by myself twice.
But I can tell you that nothing was brought into the house, if that's what you're asking. Or if that's what we were getting to.
No, I didn't ask that.
I don't know, but people would probably ask that. So just to cover that ground, no, there was nothing being brought in. But yeah, and I think it was to avoid the cameras, correct.
There was nothing brought in? Wait a minute. What do you mean there's nothing brought in? Didn't he go on later shows and say that Brandon came with a duffel bag and that he watched him put his clothes in it? Like, he's literally saying that nothing was brought in and his story completely changed. And I know everybody knows his stories are changing. This duffel bag has me. He's able to describe the duffel bag, say how small it is. He goes from small, tiny, medium size. This just goes on and on. The story just keeps changing.
It's crazy.
I cry every day to see. Brandon brought a duffel bag full of his clothes. I can verify that it was literally full of clothes because it was empty when he brought it on the couch from the side of the couch. And I watched him put all of his dirty clothes inside the duffel bag. It's small. It's a medium to small duffel bag. It's not big at all. It's not like a huge one. It's got the handles that Velcro together, and it's got a strap that goes over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And he takes this duffel bag with him on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you do at the house once you arrive there? You hook up the car, and what else? What else is going on at the house?
That's it. Brandon had to go through the side gate entrance on the right side of his house. He was in the house washing his clothes.
And how long are y'all at this house?
30 minutes tops.
Well, you can't wash and dry your clothes for 30 minutes.
He didn't dry his clothes. He washed them and left them in the washer, and then they went back the next day.
And that was his mother's house, correct?
So we go from an empty duffel bag, and then we go to nothing's carried in the house, to I saw him put clothes in the duffel bag. He brought the duffel bag in and he washed his clothes. He washed his clothes, but he didn't dry his clothes because they went back the next day to pick them up. So there's a lot of trips going on to Kuna, and we're going to talk about another trip to Kuna in a little while that was also made the same day that Michael Vaughan disappeared on July 27th, 2021. But he's saying here that Brandon had to go around to the side of the house. So now we've got conflicting stories about who's going in the house, how they're getting in the house. So what's up with the house? What's going on at this house? And what's going on with this damn duffel bag?
Right. I mean, and also if you don't want your mom to see you and you're trying to hide from the camera's view, I guess I get that, but it would make more sense you're trying to hide something being seen on that camera besides you. I mean, your mom might just be like, "Hey, what you doing?" And you're like, "I just really needed to wash my clothes real quick." You know, it's not like you're breaking into your mom's house unless you really are, but you know, I don't know. Your mom might not necessarily want you there, but
a lot of people say he wasn't allowed to be at the house. But I mean,
yeah.
she's in Arizona. But like you're saying, like, you know,
I mean, like, I know that I'm just gonna put it out there, like, my mom necessarily wouldn't want my brother to come when she wasn't around, but if he was like, "Hey, I just really need to just do this real quick," she'd be like, "Okay," and your camera would see, "I'm in and out." You know? It's like, okay, he was literally here for 10 minutes and did a shower and then was gone.
right.
Versus, like, you just didn't want any what you may have had on your person or what you were doing to be seen or collected or digitally imprinted, because even if you delete that crap, it is still there.
Well, then the other thing that doesn't get me either, he's not supposed to be there, just like Callie Diam is saying right now. Why didn't mom ever change the garage code that Stacey said was on the outside of the garage? It's like a button code that you got to push in. If she didn't want him in the house, then why not change the code?
And also, if she didn't want him in, I mean, I agree. If she didn't want him in the house, she might not have wanted him in the house. I've not read that, verified that myself one way or the other, but it is something that's out there, right? So, why would she stick up for him afterwards and like defend him and like not believe the police? If she judged his character so bad that she didn't want him at her house, yet the police are coming to her and saying, "Hey, your son might have been involved in a child abduction," and she's gonna do a 180 and like go to bat for him and protect him and like deflect. That doesn't make sense. Those two don't equate
Right.
to me. So that's all I'm saying. It just is kind of interesting because
Well-
it doesn't seem like it would be that bad that he'd want to hide from the freaking camera because she didn't want him there. I mean, it would be worse repercussions than your mom being like, "What the F?"
Right. And Crime Sleuth, and she's reading my mind again, because I was just going to say there would also be a timestamp if they were seen, you know, on that. I don't know if it's a doorbell camera, what kind of camera it is, but
They
yeah,
probably
there's
just
gonna
did
be a
not want to be
timestamp.
on there. It's digital evidence, and when they had something to hide, they were obviously thinking of that. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if they had their phones off or if they did other things to try to cover their tracks digitally, but that to me sounds like a real digital evidence avoider rather than just trying to avoid your mom.
Right. And I'm still thinking to myself, you know, maybe Stacey's just lying about using the code to get into the house through the garage.
Yeah, we don't
And he
know.
says
That's so
it
true. I mean, he's
because-
obviously, we can't tell what's the truth with him. My goodness.
Right. So maybe, you know, I shouldn't be speculating so much on the fact that she didn't change the code. But if he did use it and it did work, then a mom that doesn't want him there would have changed the code. I'm just pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, did Brandon have anything with him?
He had his duffel bag full of clothes, but it was small. It wasn't even a huge duffel bag. It was tiny.
Right here. Small, tiny. And just a moment ago, you heard small, medium-sized. He's just changing the story on this.
Like, what do you consider tiny? Like a book bag size, or big enough to fit?
Take like a small duffel bag, had the little hand straps on it, but not near big enough to put a human in it at all.
Okay, so you're saying there's no way that he could have stuffed a small child in that bag. He just had dirty clothes in the bag.
Yeah.
So he goes inside.
So why, when you're mentioning a duffel bag, is it even mentioned that it's not big enough to put a small child in? That would not be the first thing that came to my mind when somebody started asking me about a duffel bag, when they were just wanting to know information about an abducted child's case.
And what even is a tiny duffel bag? What even is a tiny duffel bag? My kids have a kid's duffel bag, and it's not tiny. It's still a good sized duffel bag. I mean, I know that there are really big ones out there, like army sized duffel bags, but even like kid sized duffel bags aren't going to be what you consider tiny. They're still like, I mean, I would guess like 18 inches to 24 inches lengthwise, maybe even. That's just my guess. I mean, I'm just speculating, but again, it just doesn't make sense. And yeah, that's crazy.
And he is going inside to wash his clothes, and he changes his clothes while he's there too. So it makes this even more of a suspicious trip. Good night, crime sleuthin'. She is going to bed.
I wrote thanks for joking, but I meant thanks for joining, of course. But let's just say, haha, thanks for the jokes.
No, so glad to have you here. Yeah, it's just every single story, every single story is changing everywhere anyway, so let's just give it that. But for some reason, the house, the duffel bag, how they getting in and out and everything else. And now Brandon's washing clothes and he's changing clothes. And Stacey's talking about that a body can't fit in a duffel bag. What? And then you have Stacey talking, which we're going to go back and listen to it again when we're done with this whole clip, telling crime lines and lies about how they're never going to find the duffel bag.
Had to wash clothes. Now, did he wash the clothes that he was wearing?
No, he just did a change of clothes, but literally, all I know to my knowledge, he just washed the clothes that was washed in his duffel bag.
But he did change the clothes he was wearing, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so he goes in, changes clothes, washes the clothes that's in his duffel bag. Do you or Sarah ever go in the house with him?
No,
So basically, you and Sarah just wait in the vehicle while he's inside washing clothes?
Well, when you were at Brandon's mom's house, you said Sarah used the bathroom. Did she walk in the front door, or how did she get in?
Through the garage.
Okay, so y'all sit.
So he's telling Dolly Vision that Sarah just sat in the truck with him. She didn't go into the house, but she went in to go to the bathroom and she walked in through the garage, is what Stacey tells Brooks. So all the stories are changing about this house, the duffel bag, everything.
Out there, very little conversation, just jamming out the music. And how long do you think y'all sat out there waiting on him to do the clothes? Just a guess.
I think he just threw him in the washer at that time. I don't think he even put him in the dryer, but I think it probably took him maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay.
About the time it took me to hook the car up and stuff. So
he washed them fairly quick.
Oh, yeah.
Something that just popped into my mind was whose clothes was in the duffel bag? Was all their clothes in the duffel bag? Did they all need to change their clothes? Not just Brandon? Did they all do something? Did they
Yeah.
kidnap Michael, and did they then feel like they needed to like wash their clothes really quick? So they're like washing their clothes over at Brandon's mom's house in Kuna.
Well, the thing
Uses
is,
the towing as an excuse. Oh, we'll just tow your car back, from Kuna, so nobody says anything or asks why we came here.
right, convenient cover. Well, think
Yeah.
about it. Who here has a washing machine that would do a load in 15 minutes or 10 minutes? And second of all, if he wasn't allowed to be at his mom's house, why would he just leave laundry in the washing machine?
Exactly.
He said he didn't. I feel like he said he even dried them. I mean, like 10, 15 minutes, there's no way a washing machine would be done in 10 or 15 minutes. I don't care how new your washing machine is. Okay, prove me wrong. I have an old one. I do have an old one, and my quick wash is still like 25 or 30 minutes.
My quick wash is over in almost 20. It's
Okay, see,
little over 15 minutes for my really, really quick wash. And then I have like my deep wash that takes almost 40 minutes.
Okay. Well, there you go. Maybe a guesstimate of 10, 15 minutes. But still, why would Brandon just wait inside and not help during that time? It all doesn't add up. It just doesn't feel truthful. And yeah, I can't wait till these guys are indicted one day and justice is served for Michael.
Yep. I want to hear the beginning part again with Brooks when he talks about this duffel bag.
Talk about this, Brooks.
Well, what are you going to do when Brandon or Adrien tells them where that duffel bag is?
Okay, then let him. I have no knowledge of it, and I guarantee you they don't have it.
I guarantee you they don't have it. And Adrien's being mentioned here. I guarantee they don't have it.
They don't have that. Because I promise you they would have already found it, Brooks.
Because I promise you they would have already found it.
Just very eerie. Yeah.
I just... And Crime Lines and Lines was on Purple Phoenix's show at this time when Purple allowed Brooks to come on. So another shout out to Purple for helping the Michael Vaughan case. Yeah, it's just the way he talks about this backpack is so, like I said earlier, I feel like I know when Stacey's lying because he becomes so matter-of-factly when he's saying truthful things. He sounds so matter-of-factly here, like they'll never find it.
Right.
I don't know. I find it really odd and suspicious. So I want to play this again.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, a spineless coward, in my opinion.
Callie Dime says, I don't even think they washed clothes.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I really don't either. It's just calling out what they say happening. It doesn't make sense. I agree.
And like I was saying, if they did, I feel like it had something to do with the fact that they just got done taking Michael and was trying to wash away some kind of evidence on them, whether it was dirt or, whatever. Not that they had hurt him at that moment. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just to wash away any kind of evidence at all. So I want to talk about the water in the pawn shop because, again, Brandy Neal in the comment section says, where is the tablet from the pawn shop? Where is the car crash video? Brandon, Adrien, where's the tablet? Where's the car crash video? We've got Brandy Neal wanting to know. So where is it? And then this is what Brandon says.
So how long were you there at the house for?
I probably knew him for 2 years in total, and I probably stayed with them off and on for a year. because I went out and drove taxis at their little faith taxi business.
Yeah.
So I take people to Walmart and give them groceries and help them out in the community and stuff like that. And then I'd go back and kind of hang out with them at nighttime, and we'd do a little barbecuing, drink a couple beers, whatever.
Yeah.
And then after that, that was pretty much it. I don't know his last name at all. I just know that he was Adrien, and he had like kind of an afro. And we went and did kind of a YouTube video that day where we were trying to make music and kind of like a car crash scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we were hanging out with him doing that earlier. And then after that, me, Adrien, and Sarah went to Applebee's, where we dropped him off there after me and Sarah got a chicken sandwich and a soda pop over there at the Popeyes restaurant.
Who bought the Applebee's? You or him? Or who paid?
Sarah took me to lunch over at Popeyes, and she was going to buy a sandwich for me, Adrien, and her, but he said, my family's here, I want to see him, so I'm going to go to Applebee's and go over here and have dinner with them, or lunch with them real quick, and then give me a little bit of time to do that, and then you guys come back and get me.
Yeah.
So we did that, and in the meantime, me and Sarah were bored just kind of driving around the mall, and we didn't know what to do, so I drove back over to my house to get a water bottle and fill it up with water to bring back over to their house because I didn't like their water.
I just want to pause right here for a second. So they take Adrien to Applebee's to spend time with his family. Sarah takes Brandon out for lunch at Popeyes. They have some chicken sandwiches. They get some soda pop. But they're going to drive from Nampa, Idaho, all the way to Kuna to get water because he doesn't like the water. And it's 11 miles away and about a 20-minute drive. Why are they driving all the way to Kuna to get water? They could go to the nearest convenience store to get water. Obviously, Sarah had some money on her. They could have even, went through another drive-through and ordered water somewhere. All you would have to pay for is the cup sometimes. I just don't understand why they would drive 20 minutes away. And they're also trying to just buy time driving around the mall, which I think is also suspicious because kids could be around the mall.
Yeah, like they were scouting maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would you drive 20 minutes to go get water?
Makes no sense. I don't know who in their right mind would, because it would cost more in gas money to drive 11 miles than it would to just stop at McDonald's and pay 25 cents for an ice water.
And, in all actuality, it's 22 miles and 40 minutes because they got to drive all the way back to Nampa.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it. It makes no sense unless they're involved in some way and there's a relevant reason here.
Yeah, because they're going back to Kuna. They're going to Brandon's mom's house. This is another stop at Brandon's mom's house on the day that Michael comes up missing.
Yeah. What's crazy is... Oh, sorry. I'll tell you afterwards. Go ahead and play the video.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, taking a quick bird walk. I know that if they get a search warrant and they execute the search warrant and they don't find anything, it's so hard to get another search warrant again at the same place. So I just hope that that when they brought those 17 dogs, that they really did the best they could to look, because obviously this is a central point in the case. There's a reason the dogs were hitting there, and that they keep going back there, and that they're hiding from the cameras there. And I don't know.
And this is in the afternoon. This is even before Michael came up missing. So it's really, the picture of Adrien was taken at 4:47 p.m. at Applebee's. So
but I just personally think that there was a plan involved to take a kid. I don't know if everyone was involved or not, because I do believe with stopping at the splash pad, going around the mall.
Yep.
It just seems very odd. And then there was just this opportunity at the last moment while they were headed out of the neighborhood where there was a little kid alone. and they just were like, oh, this is what we've been waiting for all day.
Yep.
And I know you weren't going to show it, but can I mention something about that newspaper, or are we going to save it for another live?
Sure. Go for it.
I found a newspaper clipping, and I know Sarah has said some, or was known to have said some things when she was first arrested for not reporting a death. But I found a newspaper that actually said Sarah Wondra also told police that someone identified in that affidavit only as Adrien had been the one that had done it, and he was scared to tell anybody. So yeah, it just is, again, like if Stacey's at the splash pad, Sarah and Brandon are at the mall, Adrien's at the Applebee's, maybe they all are like previously scouting for an opportunity. This is just me speculating. And then again, they were together and an opportunity happened and she blamed Adrien at that time. I'm not saying that's truthful or anything, but I just found that, and I had never heard that before, that she had directly blamed him as well as Stacey.
And Kelly is also saying Brandon wasn't supposed to be there, so why go all that way for water? Exactly. It doesn't make sense. No stone unturned. You got that right. I feel like we're just a huge community of sleuths trying to investigate. It's amazing. I love it. But yeah, and in that same newspaper clipping, it's also mentioned that Stacey Wondra was the one who gave the tip to Fruitland police. And, you know, when did that newspaper clipping come out?
That was almost a year ago in April 2023.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like, oh, hush, hush on who gave the tip and everything else, but it was out in a newspaper over a year ago that Stacey was the one who gave the tip. He's now saying that it was a false tip. And then, you know, there's even talk going around that even the false tip information that he gave could be false because he was coerced into saying that it was a false tip. So what's going on, Stacey? What's the truth?
Yeah, exactly. Make it make sense. But hey, we read it here in the newspaper article from a year ago, so I do believe that he did make a tip. Whether he wants to say it's false now or not, it did come from him. So I know we did a live that was a confusing point where we were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Somebody coerced him to say he made a tip for sympathy. Like, what the heck? But now we know he did.
Yeah, he made a tip. Whether or not it was a false tip, we'll never know because Stacey's a liar. I don't believe that it was a false tip. I think he, you know, gave that tip knowing, I don't know, it could go two ways. Either knowing they weren't going to find anything because he knew that Michael had already been moved, or he shit his pants when they didn't find anything, and he realized right then he wasn't going to be able to get a deal with the police because they didn't find him.
Mm-hmm.
So which one was it? Or did he, I don't know. He's so matter-of-factly with, I knew they weren't going to find him. I knew it. I knew they weren't going to find him. And that's one of those matter-of-factlies that I'm just like, you know, maybe because he knew Michael had been moved.
Right. I know, but why would he have even said it? It all doesn't make sense, especially because Stacey says he's buried in the backyard. Sarah says he was buried in the backyard.
And that Stacey did it because God told her.
And then, that kind of verifies that these people have knowledge of something. And then Adrien and Brandon, who were there that day, they're like, nope, I didn't. Adrien's like, I was set up. And Brandon's like, no, nothing happened. We just were, everything was fine.
Yeah, but then Brandon is scared to death when they come and see him in Montana, and he flees and goes to his dad's house. You know, I find that young men, even young women, when they're in trouble, they run to girls. Will either run to their mommy or their daddies, but when boys are in trouble, they run to their mommies or daddies too. You know what I mean? And he runs away and goes to his dad's house immediately. Like, screw this. I am friggin' out. Terrified, scared to death.
And I did find it interesting that he also explained that his parents were really scared for him. So obviously he was like, he was also telling them like, I don't know. He described that his parents were scared. And I am just saying Tina's message to the reporter does not give off that vibe. Any comment or message I've read from Brandon's mom gives off more of a freaking arrogant, trying to lessen the situation vibe. And Brandon's
Almost
describing her as
trying to
scared.
help deflect the situation away from her son, just
Yeah.
like they all tried to deflect anything from themselves.
Yep.
And then during that time, after that, we came back to the mall and we picked up Adrien, me and Sarah, and then all three of us, Sarah, Adrien, and I, we hopped in the car and we went back to the Fruitland house.
Everybody catch that? Then Adrien, Sarah, and I went back to the Fruitland house. We picked up Adrien, and then Sarah, Adrien, and I went back to the Fruitland house. He's saying here that Adrien didn't stay behind. And I just found this very strange because I have not found any verifiable proof yet that says that he stayed in Napa. I know a lot of people say that he stayed in Nampa. I would love to have that information and know for sure that Adrien stayed in Nampa with his family to like visit his kid and stuff. But I found it very interesting that Brandon is saying that they all three went back to the house in Fruitland.
Good catch.
Yeah, I want to play that part again.
Me and Sarah, and then all three of us, Sarah, Adrien, and I, we hopped in the car and we went back to the Fruitland house where they do their taxi business. We just went over to a pawn shop, I think, just kind of look around at the pawn shop a little bit. And then I think he bought like an iPad, or he was trying to get a new iPad, I think.
That's Adrien, right?
Right, yes, sir. And then I think he bought one there. We went to the pawn shop, bought an iPad, and then came back and we were just chilling.
But Brandy wants to know where the tablet from the pawn shop is and where the car crash video is that he is saying that they did for a YouTube video.
It makes me think they couldn't produce it when they were interrogated and questioned by police.
Yep.
And that would be something you would produce, especially, I mean, Adrien did make music, so why wouldn't he have that? That's bizarre. And yeah, you know, like, where if they didn't have the iPad, they would at least have video footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Callie says, so it's just a coincidence that Stacey said that Michael was buried in the backyard and dogs hit on the backyard. I call BS.
Same. I do too.
Yep. He knew something. I don't know what he thought he was going to get out of it. Either he knew that Michael had already been moved or he was hoping to catch a deal. That's how I feel about that. But yeah, the way that Josh from the lab was talking to him and getting him to break. I mean, some of that interview on Justin for All got so good. I mean, he started to stutter his words about that backyard and where Michael was. And at one point, you like heard him say it, and it sounded so for real that he was back there. It was a really good interview.
Yeah, it really was.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, a spineless coward, in my opinion.
And I have a clip just to go through. It was a bunch of just different little clips from Brandon's interview with JLR. And, you know, thank God he got him on panel when he did, because that news article or that news reporter said that it was done just 5 days before that news conference that they did, announcing all of the suspects. If that wouldn't have been done, I don't think Brandon would have ever talked. And in that news report, it also said that police watched all of the footage. All of the footage. So you know they're watching. They're absolutely 100% watching everything every single one of these suspects do. And Opal says, he says A is with them. And nobody is that unlucky.
I say that about Terry Horman all the time.
Yep.
It's
He
true.
was hoping to Opal says he was hoping, sorry, I'm getting my tongue mixed up here. He was hoping to rat out Sarah and get a plea deal. It backfired on him. Exactly. Something like that happened.
Yeah.
Kelly Dime says there was nothing in that backyard but trees, grass, a barbecue in the middle of the yard, ? Because that's what Stacey says in that interview I was just talking about when Josh was grilling him. He just kept talking about the middle of the yard, and a shed they got a permit for after Michael went missing.
That is bizarre.
Can you elaborate on got a permit for after Michael went missing? I've never heard that.
Yeah, me neither. I know I went on Google Earth and it looked like the shed was there before he went missing, but that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, because you went on Google Earth. You were able to see the shed, and didn't you say something about it being there 2017, 18?
Yeah.
And it looked like the same shed that was there when they started their
Yeah, it wasn't even a fenced
excavation.
backyard yet. Right. It wasn't even a fenced backyard yet. Yeah, they didn't like move the shed, it looked like, when they excavated. They may have used like penetrating radar or something to look there. While somebody mentions a deal, earlier in the comments, I just wanted to backtrack a little and say it's not, if a suspect is listening, it's never too late, probably, I would imagine, to be the one that helps bring Michael home to his family. I'm sure that person would get a great deal compared to the others. And there's only going to be one of them that can do that. And are you guys gonna gamble on the chance of not like being found innocent? I mean, really, I would really say that's a gamble. And we know, and they are going to be seeking indictments. This has been turned over to the district attorney. So it is going to be.
Who are they going to serve those indictments to first? If they serve them one at a time and not at the same time, and you're not the person that flips first,
right?
And another person gets that indictment, they're going to flip because now they know they're really, really in a whirlwind of shit.
Yeah,
and things are going to go down.
There's only going to be one of the first that can do the right thing here, and the rest are going to have to just suffer the consequences of not doing the right thing. I mean, there's obviously no justification of what happened, but at least bringing some closure to Michael's family, that is the least somebody could do.
Right. I mean, if you don't want to think about the family and you do just care about yourself more, then turn yourself in, tell the truth.
At least that, right? Exactly. At least you can look at it as, hey, you know what? I'll be a little less of a harsh sentence than the rest of these motherfuckers.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, they're out there, they're doing interviews, they're talking and everything else. And it's like, someone's going to eventually flip. Someone is eventually going to flip. I honestly believe it's going to be Sarah or Adrien because they're the ones being the most quiet. And because Sarah's spending so much time right now and she can't even talk to the parole board until 2026, she's not going to want to keep spending more and more time. So she's going to flip to get a deal so she doesn't have to keep, staying in prison even though she will
forever.
for a
Yeah,
long time, but she don't want to be there for the rest of her life. And yeah, she's already in prison.
I know.
So
It is kind of bizarre though, you know, like when you think you watch like a true crime show or you hear about other investigations, how they interrogate people. And I know coming into the police station realistically is um a voluntary action, and that's why these other people have kind of fled. Um but yeah, imagine if they got them in a room and all these changes in stories, you know. But the investigators have gotten far enough where they feel confident and they've gotten it to the district attorney. And so I'm just really grateful for that and hopeful for the future for this case, and that that justice is able to be brought and served, and all of the YouTube community and the Facebook community helps. And this all will in some way, shape, or form help. And that's what's awesome. Being a small thread in a big blanket that will help hopefully bring justice to Michael. I know the justice system is slow, but I have faith in it. So,
hey Brooks, how are you? Why are you up so late, or are you up early? What is it? You're usually in bed by now.
what time is it
She
your time,
says-
Brooks?
Well, she's 2 hours ahead of us. 2 hours ahead of us. I don't even know what time it is.
I've been muting myself yawning, so oh, there we go. She just woke up.
11. She's like, I just woke up. 11 p.m. Do you go back to sleep, and then are you going to get back up at 3 a.m.? She talks about getting up at 3 a.m. to do her shows, and I don't even know how she could do it.
Oh, yeah, more power to you. I don't know if I could do it either.
Hey, Swan, how are you, hun? She's here. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Let's go through these clips after I play this one last time.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, spineless coward, in my opinion.
And then let's go through this clip of Brandon's.
Been Googling around following this case?
Yeah, and yes, sir. And then I seen your YouTube that you put out this morning, you know what I mean? And my picture right next to those guys, and that's when it really started to hit home. And I was like, I got to find everything I can do to help. I don't even care about me and my freedom anymore. I need to figure out what's going on here and stop the lying and bring the truth to everything that I can and help.
I don't even care about my freedom anymore. If you don't care about your freedom anymore, why don't you go turn yourself in? Go sit in jail for a little bit for the warrant that you have for a misdemeanor that you'll probably only spend 30 days for. Go tell the truth. And for any of them that want to tell the truth, call the tip line, remain anonymous, change your voice, and give these parents peace. Do something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then my second thought from there is that he might have went missing. He might have went out from his neighborhood because he was trying to go play with other kids like that, his age. And he might have got out in that field and went too far down. There's that Snake River right there by the Ontario-Idaho border right there. So I said, I hope he didn't fall in there and didn't know how to swim, or if he swam to the other side and got lost, or who found him or what,
So this was the clip I was talking about, where he's talking about Michael like falling in the river or swimming across the Snake River and then maybe getting lost on the other side. It's complete nonsense. We're talking about a child that just turned 5 years old. There's no way in hell Monkey's going to be able to swim across the Snake River with a rapid current. I mean, I know the Snake River runs like the Columbia River. There's just absolutely no way. I can't make sense of this. I can't.
And before you start the next clip, on the first clip, you said, stop the lying and tell the truth. I'm like, what? Is that a Freudian slip that you're out here lying?
Yeah, I think Brandon really aggravates me. I couldn't get through the spitting, coughing, and whatever with Stacey. I really think Brandon aggravates me because the way he deflects. It isn't so obnoxious like Stacey, but I mean, making up stories, saying things that are just like not possible, like monkeys swimming across the Snake River. He says so much. I don't know if you listened to that whole interview or not, Kalia, but you should. I am not joking when I tell you he says like the strangest things. And I mean, and during this entire interview, he is just popping down these beers. He is not just a little sip here, a little sip. We're talking gong, 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 and like really, really sucking these beers down. Hammered. And his dad's in this hot tub with him, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but I found a clip on somebody's Facebook, and his dad's sitting on the other side of the hot tub.
That's so weird. The
Listening
whole
to him
thing
do
is
this
just
interview.
so weird. I mean, like, I guess just do you not have you don't have enough time to take this seriously enough to like actually sit down with somebody in a serious matter? Like, you're sitting in the hot tub with your dad drinking beers. Like, come on, take this serious. A kid is missing here and you're just acting like you're this crazy. This weird.
Brooke said that she just posted our live. Thank you, hun. Thank
Oh,
you so
thanks.
much for the love. By the way, that duffel bag phone call you did with Stacey gave me chills.
Yeah.
It literally gave me chills. I was heartbroken after listening to it.
Because there's a million bazillion possibilities that could happen right here.
We're watching right now. What would you say to Michael Vaughan's family?
I would say, don't lose hope. Keep your head up, keep your chin up, and know that he might still be out there somewhere, because they never brought him into their house when I was there, not once. No.
Did you guys see his throat gulp? Not once, right before he says not once. The biggest throat gulp. Let me see if I can get it just right past here. Listen.
Vaughan's family.
I would say, don't lose hope. Keep your head up, keep your chin up, and know that he might still be out there somewhere, because they never brought him into their house when I was there, not once.
Gulp.
No little kids ever even came into that house, and I was there like a good majority of the time running a taxi business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the people that I knew that was there, they seemed like they were all right, decent people that weren't trying to do that. They were just trying to have normal, everyday lives, you know?
So, what's your family think about what's going on? Did you tell them?
Yeah, I told them. The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone, doing like sighting in Montana and stuff, trying to pay bills, and they're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out. Don't know what's happening, what's going on.
So, do you feel like the detective?
He's so nervous right there. Like they're scared. What did he say? I gotta rewind this a little bit.
Yeah, I told them. The police and the detectives and everything, they've been at my mom's house since I've been gone, doing like sighting in Montana and stuff, trying to pay bills, and they're beside themselves and just scared and freaking out. Don't know what's happening, what's going on.
So, do you feel like the detectives think you're involved, or they just want to ask you more about the Wondras? What is the detectives' reasons of coming to you?
I think they want to find out more about like the Wondras and their lifestyle, of how they are and what they do. And I'm probably the best guy to ask, because I was there around them the most at that time.
Did you feel detectives think you did something, or was it, were they hard on you and questioning? Were they making you feel like you're guilty of something?
Well, they were pretty stern, you know. They wanted to get to the bottom of it, and they kind of interrogated me, and they were pretty rough and, you know, aggressive with it. And I said, listen, guys, I didn't do it at all. And if they're saying that this happened and that they did it, they know more about it than I did, because when I was around them, they didn't act that way. So they're like, okay. And then from there, it's just been kind of like, they hit me hard, and I told them everything I know, and then it's been a standstill. And we're just trying to see like who all was even at that point in time in history.
So you're not nervous at all? Are you nervous about being arrested at all, or anything?
Yeah, that definitely crosses my mind every day, you know. And I know that if I go back to Idaho, I'll be arrested immediately. And, you know, they're going to talk about me about my marijuana charges, probably do 20, 30 days in jail myself if I go back. And then,
He's afraid of doing 20, 30 days in jail for a misdemeanor. What?
He'd
then
rather
from
be
there,
on the run.
He would, yeah, rather be on the run.
So you have pending charges in Idaho.
yeah, I have pending charges in Idaho just from probation and like possession of marijuana, and that's what I was in trouble with those guys for before.
I appreciate
But,
your honesty with that. Appreciate your
Yeah.
honesty. So you're not gonna. I'm still suspect of you, but I still appreciate you speaking, and it puts more like you got nothing to hide, right? You got nothing to hide by
Right.
sharing all this, because usually what
Yes.
the experience with people have done things, unless you're psychotic and you just are guilty and you're just acting like you're not. And there's people out there like that, like Chris Watts. There's other cases that, he goes right in front of the cameras and says he didn't do it, whatever. But you're willing to talk. You're willing to share your side. And,
Yes, sir.
people will have a different perspective about this, because there's millions of people following this case.
Holy smokes.
Holy smokes. With the thumb up. Holy smokes. Right after he just got done saying, because there's millions of people following this case. Holy smokes. He's so nervous at the end of this interview. I noticed that because at the very end of the interview, JLR says that he's going to share this on his YouTube, and the look on his face, I didn't have enough room to keep adding more clips again on my phone, because I have like so many clips on my phone. But the look on his face, he was just like, what? You're going to share this on YouTube? What? Did he not know that that's what he was going to do? Because JLR investigates. Hello.
One thing I do appreciate about JLR investigates here is he's over here saying, I'm still suspect of you, but I do appreciate you coming on here. He's keeping it real with them. And
yeah,
that is not easy to do. I mean, I know that you and I have put ourselves in these YouTuber shoes and been like, what would we do? What would we ask? What would we do? What would we think? And really, when you are in the hot seat, it's so different when you're talking to a suspect that you, in your heart, feel might have involvement in some way. It's a different ballpark. So again, hands off. This was a great interview with JLR Investigates. I linked him in the comments. If you scroll up, we'll also link them in the regular comments once this is done live, so our replayers can get the links to these YouTubers as well.
Yep. And then Kelly says, I want the behavior panel to watch Brandon and Stacey's interviews. That would be amazing. We actually had our admin for our Kyron Horman case revisited on Facebook reach out to them to watch interviews and stuff with Terry Horman. They do a really good job of, doing the behavioral stuff and just, he, to me, Brandon, he's like off his rocker. I am sorry, but this stuff has he's going mad. He's thinking about this every day. I mean, his employer is talking about him being all panicked and paranoid and erratic and stuff, and I can actually really see this with him. I also believe that's why he's sitting in this hot tub pounding down these beers. I think he's drinking his feelings away.
Yeah, I mean, it's self-destructive behavior. Who runs from a misdemeanor that you're going to serve 20 days for? I mean, that's a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
That's a blink of an eye, and you would rather run, and that's just bizarre in itself. And then B, when he's asked, are you nervous? Are you checking on the case? He says yes every day. He answers I think, I can't remember the way JLR asked the question, but he says something like, are you afraid of being arrested? And he says yes every day. This is on his mind. This is something he knows. I will say, I'm not a behavior expert, but when he did ask, what would you say to Michael's parents? I will say, I'm surprised he didn't take that moment to say, I'm not guilty. Because that's probably the first thing. I'm thinking Letitia Stout, when she gave that interview to that news reporter, and she said, that man asked her, and she said, I can't wait to be proven right. And everybody apologizes to me because it's all about them and proving their innocence. But so I will say that is kind of interesting that wasn't his first, but it was keep up the faith when he was there with these people that day. And 2 of those people have confirmed that Michael was buried in the backyard. That's not a coincidence. There is something happened with Michael and the 4 of these people that were all together that day, right where Michael disappeared. And I can't believe, honestly, that he was able to kind of just smoothly say that to Michael's parents. That's kind of interesting to
the
me.
same thing when Brooks mentions it to Stacey and says, what would you say to Michael's parents? Neither one of them are saying anything about not being guilty. I didn't do this. I didn't have anything to do with it. I just want you to know I didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. It's interesting, along with, like you said, neither are wanting to say his name. They just distance themselves completely. Like, they don't even want to say I'm not guilty, almost like they don't even want to like get close to it. Like they're trying to stay as distant as they can from this, like a denial, like a form of denial to like, I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine your brain. Our human brain is only, we will protect it even without realizing it. And honestly, hurting a little kid, I can only imagine would be freaking horrible to witness, even if you did it on purpose. And so, like, maybe his brain that's just how he copes. That's just me thinking from a psychological standpoint. I really don't know how that all works, but yeah, it's just bizarre.
Relive any of those moments, especially if you've never done anything like that before in your life. If that's not who you are, or you get caught up in the
moment
of, being around these people and they end up doing it, and you're just there and you witness it, and then all of a sudden, something, you saw something.
That's heavy, right? I mean, like, even if you were thinking about it all day and you were thinking it was going to be a great idea for fucking whatever reason, it does. It's just crazy.
I do not know if they searched across the river. And thanks again, Brooks, for sharing us. We got Rhonda B. Dangles here, and she is here because she saw your post that you posted. Thank you.
I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I can only imagine if someone would have took my kid, what it would have done to my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I have a kid of my own, and I only have one. She's 10. She's like 5 years older than him. And I got a nephew that's like the same age as him, 5 or 6. And this kid has the same birthday as me, June 24th.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just something that affects me a little bit. It affects me a lot every day, and I think about it, and I can't stop thinking about it. So it's like I need to tell who's lying and who's not. And I think that Stacey is a liar, and he just says stuff to attract attention because he wants to be the cool guy, and because he has a low self-esteem because he's a bigger guy. And, I love Stacey, I love Sarah, but I'm not proud about what they've done and what they...
I'm not proud of what they've done. He literally says it. I'm not proud of what they've done. Listen to that again. And he corrects himself.
So it's like I need to tell who's lying and who's not. And I think that Stacey is a liar, and he just says stuff to attract attention because he wants to be the cool guy, and because he has a low self-esteem because he's a bigger guy. And, I love Stacey, I love Sarah, but I'm not proud about what they've done and what they've done,
what they've done, and what they
if they are involved, they need to come forward, and if they're not, we need to find out who really did do this, because it's not just something little.
Well said, Brandon.
I also find it, you have Stacey with all of his clips and everything else saying, this is something that I think about every day. I cry about this every day. Now Brandon saying, I think about this all the time. I think about it every day. And just like you were just talking about how it would affect a person seeing or knowing or doing something like kidnapping,
I know, exactly. And yeah, that is a huge slip right there. I'm not proud of what they've done. And you
And
know,
instantly corrects himself.
he goes
Instantly.
on, he says right there, and if they are guilty, they need to come forward. And if they're not, I can't remember what he says, but weren't you with them? You were with them. So like you would know, wouldn't you be saying that? I know they're not guilty. Yet all of them are saying, I think the other person could have done it, but I don't know. You guys were all together. What are you talking about?
Yep. Make it make sense.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, spineless coward, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you know, in the other clip that he was talking about how he's like sleuthing all the Google pages, and that's how he found JLR, because he had put his picture up next to the other people in the case and stuff, and you know, he wanted to come out and talk in the interview, you know. So we know Stacey's out here, you know, constantly watching the internet. He's out here constantly, you know, looking at the internet. I don't know what access, you know, Sarah might have in prison, if any. Callie says Adrien claims that they are trying to set him up. Yeah, I actually found some kind of I screenshotted a clip. I think I found it on a TikTok or something, and I found where he was saying that he's getting set up. That's one of the reasons why I think Adrien might be the one to talk, because if he is trying to get set up, or if he does think that he's being set up, you know, maybe he'll tell the truth. BRANDI NEAL just showed up, Michael Vaughan's mom.
Hello. Thanks for joining us, Brandy.
I stand by that statement to every one of them.
I said earlier, we stand right behind you.
They are all liars and cowards.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes,
they are. And don't think I'm stalking you, BRANDI. If you go back, I don't know if you've been here this whole time. I took a couple comments that you made in some of the lives and used them because I think it's really important to just for people to see, you know, how you're feeling and what you're talking about. And when you made a comment about the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, I was able to go find some information about them calling BS on Tina and the cadaver dogs hitting on a senator house at that crawl space, and her trying to say that it was because of a toilet leak or like poop. I mean, as soon as I saw your comment, I had to go find the information. I got a hold of Kaylee and I'm like, you're not going to believe what she just said. We need to find this. And I was able to find it.
Yes. And confirm that. And yeah, again, cadaver dogs are trained. They go through multiple courses to get certified, and they have to get certified and recertified, you know, keep up on their certification. And they would know the difference between poop and the scent that they're trained to alert for. That is just so bizarre and so easily disprovable. It's actually outrageous that she would try to say that.
I'm going to put my phone number on here. I know it's really strange. BRANDI, could you please give me a call? I have been trying to get in contact with you because I have a question about the cemetery, and I just want to ask you about it because I don't want to talk about anything that you don't want anyone to talk about. This is my phone number. I'm going to keep it up just for a few minutes. If you want to text me or phone call, that would be great. I can't find you anywhere and you don't watch your messenger. You're a busy woman though. I get it. BRANDI says, I absolutely dare them to come speak with Ellie. I'll be there.
That's right. Oh, amen. That's why he's scared to come to Idaho. Not only afraid of Ellie, but he's also afraid of the wrath of Mama Bear.
Yeah, Kelly says Tina is full of ish, just like her POS son. Yep. Yeah, I just couldn't believe some of the stuff that he said. in his interview. When I finished watching the entire thing, I was really drawn back and just in awe that, you know, you really feel it. You can see it. You can tell that these people know where Monkey is. You know it for a fact. They're out there, they're lying, they're on these interviews. The only thing they're not doing is telling the truth. They're not going into Fruitland Police Department and telling them exactly where Monkey is and giving this family peace. And that's what they need to do. Someone needs to do it. And it's only a matter of time before one of them flip on the other three. It's only a matter of time. So if any of you are listening, you know, just
Do the right thing.
Yep. Do the right thing. Give this family peace. BRANDI says that we have the best of the best and we will never give up. Nope. And now that we're doing Michael's case, we're never going to give up either. We're here for you 100%. BRANDI strong. Thank you. I see your comment. You got it. You know, that's how bad I've needed to, oh, how do I get rid of it? Can you even delete a comment without banning the user?
You ban yourself from your own page.
It says either put user in timeout or ban user and delete their comments. And I'm not banning myself. So hopefully, what does it say when you try to do it?
You have to add me as an admin, I think, to the chat because I'm not able to do anything.
Really?
Yeah,
I need to figure out how to add moderators and that kind of stuff.
I know. Me too. I mean, honestly, you say that you're not tech savvy. I'm not the best either. YouTube tutorials are like my best friend.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm self-taught. I can put myself in timeout, but if I put myself in timeout, then how long will I be in timeout for?
Well, test it out. Who knows? I mean, if we get kicked off the live, guys, it's all Samantha's fault. So
No, I'm not doing it. Spam people want to try calling me. My phone's going to tell me anyway. I don't really care. Someone wants to call me, they can call me, prank me, whatever. I mean, it's
bring
whatever.
some livelihood to your life, right? Make you laugh. Trust Ellie and our family. I love that comment. I have full faith. I really, you know, the lead investigator, he seems like a great person. I've heard people speak really highly of him, and he seems really to care about you and your family and Michael, and he wants this to be, he wants him home too. And that's awesome to see because honestly, sometimes it just feels like law enforcement is behind the scenes and hides behind that it's an active and ongoing investigation like barrier, and it's so disconnected feeling. But this, he really feels connected, and like it really does give me so much faith that Michael and your family will have justice brought.
I know I saw somewhere that they, like, BRANDI and Huff, or BRANDI and one of the investigators or something, they talk all the time. I think it's really good to keep in contact with them and everything and have a good relationship, you know, with the people that are looking for Michael. I'm really glad you got a good team. I know that matters. It really does matter to know that they're doing all they can. So, and you mentioned your family, and that just brings up a good point. We're not attacking BRANDI and Tyler at all, or any member of their family. That's not what we're doing here. They are not suspects in Michael's case. They have been cleared. They didn't do anything to their son. We are tired of hearing people twist and turn the narrative and, you know, well, actually, their agenda to fit their narrative. We've been here, done that before, and here's somebody doing it again in this case, but you won't be doing it here because you will get banned from our comments and from our YouTube if you attack anyone in our,
you know, the thing that I have to say about that is the truth prevails, right? Goodness and truth prevails. And that's all I have to say to people that want that darkness. And for some reason, I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but you know, the truth will always prevail. And yeah.
I'm going to put this up again.
You didn't walk into that police station. You won't even come back to Idaho. You're a coward, a spineless coward, in my opinion.
Where'd you go, Kaylia? Did I take you? I took you down instead of the video.
Pay no
Well-
minds to the fakes and liars. Ain't that the truth? That's how I feel. I feel the same way. Like I've told Samantha this before. Beyonce doesn't acknowledge her haters. You know, like these people are just honestly the lowest of the low, and the truth prevails. And so I'm happy that, you know, that Samantha and I have joined the many other awesome people that are here in this community that are advocating for Michael and other missing kids, because they deserve thorough research, a strong backing, and the truth. And that's what we stand for here.
Oh, absolutely. We research everything. We don't like misinformation. We do our best not to spread any. I want to play this video real quick. Let everybody throw up some blue hearts and monkeys for Michael Monkey Vaughan. If you have any tips, please call the Fruitland Police Department at 208-642-6006. I believe there's an extension 0, or email findmichael@fruitland.org. No tip is too small. Anybody can make a difference. There's always help if you need it. We've really appreciated everybody joining our live. Please subscribe to our new channel. It helps us grow. It helps get all of the missing kids that we're going to be supporting, their names out there, their pictures out there. It really makes the difference. We are really famous for spur of the moment lives. So click that notification button too, so that you can get a notification anytime we do a live.
Yep.
We appreciate you showing up, BRANDI.
Yes, grateful to have you here, and we feel honored to have you here, honestly, and to be part of, like I said, this community that's hopefully going to bring justice, help bring justice, at least not fully, but help. And also, sorry to backtrack, but while you're on the topic of subscribing and our last minute lives that we always do, we also started a Facebook page for our new YouTube channel, because we do have some Facebook groups. We've talked about them lots before, but this Facebook page kind of is just going to be like a central location where we can post facts about the cases that we're going to cover and the kids that we're advocating for. And you can find us on Facebook at the same name that we changed here to on YouTube, Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. So hope to see you there too.
Yep, we do. And if you want to follow Michael's case, we have a Facebook group, Michael Vaughan Case Revisited, and we put up a lot of information about the suspects there. We put up information and flyers about Michael, so you can find a flyer, you can share them on, social media, because that's going to be where the biggest reach is. Please hit the like button, Rhonda Dangle said. Yes, please hit the like button.
Thanks for the reminder, Rhonda.
Yeah, but there's a lot of information that we've been putting into the Michael Vaughan case revisited. We have been kind of taken off here recently. We started out with only like 20 members, and I think we're close to 50 now. So people are really starting to come over and really starting to talk and have conversations. So, you know, we invite all of you guys to come over and yeah, just be a part of that community. We know some people that follow these children can, you know, ours was Kyron Horman, and we were totally obsessed and still are. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make a group for Michael, just Michael, so that you can go over there and check him out and his information out. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the live. We always have a good time. We're always thankful for everybody here. Say a prayer for Michael. Say a prayer for his family. They're hurting right now. They need justice. They need answers. And just be aware when you're online and you're talking about the case. If you know something's not true, say something. If you hear somebody attacking the parents of Michael Vaughan, say something. Say they are not suspects. Stop talking about it. I'm honestly tired of hearing about it. I've been doing a little bit of research on YouTube, watching some other creators, and there's quite a few creators out there. And yeah, it's really awful to see that kind of stuff. I just don't like seeing it at all, especially when you know the parents had nothing to do with it. Mama B says, I'll catch the replay so I can watch from the beginning. Thank you, Mama B. We're about to get off of here. I'm going to play our Battle of the Bullshit video for everybody, and we're out. Thank you for joining.